各位记者朋友，大家下午好，欢迎出席外交部例行记者会。首先，我发布一则消息：南长江湄共和合作第4次领导人会议将于12月25日以视频方式举行。国务院总理李强将与柬埔寨、老挝、缅甸、泰国、越南等湄共和国领导人共同出席。请大家提问。
Now the floor is open.
谢谢发言人。总台华语环球节目中心记者提问：李强总理将于12月25日出席南美合作第4次领导人会议，中方如何评价当前南美合作发展？对此次会议有何期待？
南长江湄共和合作是首个以建设命运共同体为目标，由流域6国共商共建共享的新型地区合作机制。启动7年来发展迅速，形成了领导人引领、全方位覆盖、各部门参与的蓝莓格局，创造了天天有进展、月月有成果、年年上台阶的蓝莓素质，培育了平等相待、真诚互助、亲如一家的蓝莓文化，成为国与国关系的典范、区域合作的样板、南南合作的标杆。当前，蓝莓各国都处于加快发展和迈向现代化的重要关口。在不久前召开的蓝莓合作第8次外长会上，各方聚焦地区稳定与繁荣，着眼培育地区发展新优势，为即将举行的领导人会议做了充分准备。我们期待通过此次领导人会议，以推进蓝莓国家命运共同体建设为主线，重点围绕加强融通发展、绿色环保、科技创新、安全治理和人文交流等领域合作，深入探讨推进蓝莓流域经济发展在建设，为地区国家实现共同发展，携手迈向现代化做出积极贡献。
development belt and make active contribution for regional development and modernization.
Question from NBC, NBC has reported that President Xi told President Biden during the San Francisco meeting that China will reunify Taiwan with the mainland. While this is a known policy position, does this raising of the Taiwan issue in such a direct manner at the highest level with the United States imply that there is a change in China's tone or determination on the Taiwan issue, in particular ahead of Taiwan's election?
美国全国广播公司报道。
During his meeting with President Biden in San Francisco this November, President Xi Jinping outlined China's principled position on the Taiwan question. The readout on that meeting was released timely, and you may refer to that. President Xi Jinping pointed out that the Taiwan question remains the most important and most sensitive issue in China-U.S. relations. China takes seriously the positive statements made by the U.S. in the Bali meeting, and the U.S. side should take real actions to honor its commitment of not supporting Taiwan independence, stop arming Taiwan, and support China's peaceful reunification. It needs to be pointed out that settling Taiwan question and realizing the complete reunification of the motherland is the common aspiration of all sons and daughters of the Chinese nation, as well as the unstoppable trend of the times. Our position of advancing the cause of the motherland unification is consistent, rock solid, and unshakable. China will and must be reunited. Next question, please.
您好，中国日报提问。中美元首旧金山会晤期间，双方宣布成立禁毒合作工作组。
During the summit meeting in San Francisco, China and the U.S. agreed to establish a working group on counter-narcotics cooperation. And what measures has China taken so far? This is an important common understanding reached between our two countries. To deliver on this, the U.S. side has lifted sanctions on relevant Chinese law enforcement institute, and the Chinese side has continued to promote special campaigns against the fentanyl and its precursor chemicals and crack down hard on illegal and criminal activities involving the smuggling, illicit manufacturing, trafficking, and abuse of fentanyl-related substances. And we have
两国禁毒部门也正逐步恢复
the counter-narcotics authorities of China and the U.S. are resuming regular communication gradually, and the Chinese side has notified the U.S. side of the progress made in the U.S.-related law enforcement campaigns against narcotics, responded to the U.S. side request for verifying clues to certain cases and taking relevant actions. The two sides maintain close communication in this regard. I want to stress that the progress of resuming counter-narcotics cooperation between China and the U.S. is hard-won and should be cherished by the two sides. And we should carry out a practical counter-narcotics cooperation based on mutual respect, equality, and mutual benefit. Next one, please.
半岛电视台提问。最近一段时期，以色列当局不断
the Israeli authorities have been
建设为有谋仇
taking
被占
the
领
excuse
后
of
有
reconstruction
在
of
东耶
municipal
路撒冷
projects
巴勒斯坦
continue to
人的土
confiscate
地
occupied territories, especially
这种做
Palestinian
法
land in
违
East
反国际
Jerusalem.
法，
Such
并
moves
且直
violate
接成
international
为
law,
巴以冲突
directly
加剧的
intensifying the
导
Palestinian-Israeli
火
conflict,
索，迫害和平，
undermine
也
peace,
破坏了两国
as
方
well as
案
the
的可能性。
possibility of a two-state
请问
solution.
中方对以色列
What is China's
上
position
述行为
on the above-mentioned
持
moves
何
from the
立场？
Israeli side?
作为联
And
合
as
国
a
安理
permanent
会
member of the UN
常
Security
任
Council,
理事国，中国可以采取
what
哪
measures
些措
can China
施
take to
制止以色
stop
列这些
Israel from
违
taking
反
those
国际法的行为？
moves
谢谢
that violates international law?
中方一贯反对以色
China
列
opposes
在巴勒斯坦
Israel
被占领
building
土地上
settlements
兴
on
建
the
土地。
occupied territories of
反对单方
Palestine
面
and
改变耶路
opposes
撒冷地位和
unilateral
历史
change
形
to
成的现状的行为。
Jerusalem's status and the
始终
current
认为耶路
situation
撒冷地
formed
位应根
over
据
the
联合
course
国
of
有关决
history.
议。
We believe that the
由有
issue
关
of
各方通过
Jerusalem's
谈判来解
status
决。
should be settled through
在
negotiations
当前
by
巴以紧
parties
张局势
concerned
持续升
in
级，
accordance with
加沙
relevant
冲突
UN
外溢风险不
resolutions.
断扩大的背
Given
景
the
下，
continued escalation
有
of
关方面
tensions
应谨言慎行，
and increasing
避免采取
spillover
任何可能
risks
导
of
致
the
局势
conflict
升
in
级
Gaza,
甚
relevant
至失控的
party
行动。
needs to speak and act prudently and avoid any move that might lead to escalation of the situation and even make it a spiral out of control. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人路透社提问。安哥勒非洲第二大出
Reuters,
口原油的国
Angola,
家，
the
昨天
second
公布
largest
要脱
African
离
countries of
欧佩克
oil
组织。
export,
自
has
2010年以来，
said
安
that
哥勒一直
since
是中国可靠的
2001,
战略伙伴。
Angola has always been one of the
安哥勒脱离
responsible
欧佩克对中安
partner
贸易
of
关系
China.
是否
Was
有负面的
China's
影响？谢谢。
was the negative impact on the cooperation between the two
我可
countries?
以告诉你的是，我们
I can tell you that we
在
always
经贸
hope
处理的基础
that
上，推进同安哥拉的
we
各领域的务
advance
实合作。
practical cooperation with Angola based on equality and mutual benefit. Next question, please.
好，谢谢发言人。总台央广记者提问。日前呢，在中国同尼加拉瓜复交2周年之际，习近平主席
Currently,
同阿尔特加
President Xi Jinping had a phone call with the President of Nicaragua and announced a strategic partnership. This is another latest outcome of the cooperation between China and the LAC countries. Can you share more information?
习近平主席同
In
阿
this
尔特加
regard,
总统共同宣布，
President Xi
中国同尼加拉
Jinping
瓜
and
建
the
立战略伙伴关
President
系，这是两国
of
关系史上的一
Nicaragua
件大事。
announced the establishment
中
of
尼建立战略
strategic
伙伴关系，
partnership
符
between
合
two
两国
countries,
和两国人民的
which
共同利
is
益，
a milestone
有
of
利于促进
bilateral
两国共
relations
同发
and
展和繁
serves
荣。
the common
复交2
interests,
年来，在
common
联合国的领
development
导
and
下，中尼
prosperity
双方
of
牢
two
牢把握
countries
两
and
国
two
关系的
peoples.
前进方向，
And
政
under
治
the
互信
head
互
of
动。
state
战略
diplomacy,
协作
the
利
two
益一致，各
countries
领域合作
continue
开始
to
推进，
consolidate
复交的
political
统一
mutual
开始。
trust and strategic
中尼复交是近
coordination
年来中国
and
与拉美和
practical
加勒比国家
cooperation.
关系持续深化的
The
正面缩影。
resumption of diplomatic
哥斯达
ties
黎
between
加、
China
巴
and
拿马、
Nicaragua
多米尼
is
加、
the
萨尔瓦多、尼加拉瓜、
epitome of
洪都拉斯
China's
顺
relation
应历
with
史大势
LAC
和时代潮
countries,
流，
and Costa
先后与
Rica,
中国建立和
Panama,
恢复外交关
Dominic,
系。越来越多的
Salvador
拉美和加勒比国家加入高质量
Honduras
共建“一带一路
has established
支
and
持并参与
resumed
全球发展
diplomatic
产业
ties
全球
with
安全
China
和
in
国
light
人
of
民团结，
historical trends.
携手构建中拉
And
民
more
主
and
共
more
同体。
LAC countries have joined Belt and Road Initiative and support GDI, GSI, GCI. The nature of China-LAC cooperation is mutual benefit and win-win cooperation and common development. China's free trade partner in LAC in Latin America now has reached 5, and we have finished the FTA negotiation with Nicaragua within a year, which will be put in effect in the January 1st next year, and our cooperation in the fields of infrastructure, energy, electricity, and people's livelihood have bring benefits to countries in Latin America. China believes that Latin America is not the battling ground for forces. We will continue to support Latin American countries in choosing development paths suited to their own national reality, and China stands ready to work with Latin American countries to deepen our bilateral cooperation and bring bilateral relations to a new level. Next one, please.
Alan Wan from Bloomberg. China will halt the export of a range of rare earth technologies. While Beijing already has some of these limits already in place, it's now widened a list of technologies that cannot be transferred overseas to include the processing of rare earth metals and magnets. Can you respond to that?
彭博社提问。中国已经宣布要禁止稀土的科技进行出口。现在，北京已经对某些技术进行了限制，有很多的其他技术也将会不得在海外进行流通，尤其是稀土还有磁铁技术。您对此有何回应？
我想你问到的是涉及中国政府相关部门公布了禁止出口限制技术目录。
The competent authorities has released the relevant list.
这是你的问题吗？
Is this your question? Relevant list on the.
为什么中国这样做 Why is China doing this?
中方主管部门已经就此呢做出回应。
Relevant authorities has responded to it. The amendment of the list is a regular amendment based on the involvement of situation. And the items in the list has reduced from 164 to 134. China continues to deepen reform to promote development, and we will create positive conditions for international economic trade cooperation based on national securities. Any more questions?
Good afternoon. A question from AFP. Top US and China military officers spoke for the first time in more than a year yesterday. Do you have any details to offer? And was Taiwan among the topic discussed? Thank you.
法新社提问：近1年多来，中美军方的最高代表第一次进行了视频通话，您能否提供更多细节？在这次通话中，是否谈及台湾问题？
中方相关部门已经发布了
Competent authorities has released the readout of the video call.
这个当中呢，也涉及到台湾问题。
It involves the Taiwan questions, and you may refer to the readout.
我们希望
We
美方同
hope
中方一
the
道，
U.S.
落
can
实好
work
两
with
国元
China
首
in the
就金
same
三步之间
direction
达
to
成的恢复两
implement
军沟通交流的重
the
要共识。
common understandings
在
of
平等和尊
resuming
重的基础
military
上
to military
开展相关交流合
communications
作。
between two countries in San Francisco and conduct cooperation based on equality and mutual respect.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
谢发言人，中新社记者提问：据报道，美国驻华大使伯恩斯近日表示，中国没有意愿
Recently, U.S. Ambassador to China said that Beijing has no plan to cooperate with the U.S. in lunar exploration. What is your comment? What's China's attitude towards lunar mission and other international space cooperation with the U.S.?
中美航天合作的相关事实。
Today, the spokesperson of the
中国政府始
competent
终坚持为
authorities
了和
has
平目的探索
briefed
和
the
利用外
information
交
in
空
this
间，
regard.
愿在
And
平等、
China
独立、和
is
平、利用、
always
包容、发展的
committed
基础
to
上，
the
与各
exploration
国开展
and
航
the
天
use
交
of
流与
outer
合作，
space for
积
peace,
极在外
is
空领
ready
域
to
推动构
conduct
建人类命运
international
的
space
我
on
们
the
开展航
basis
空
of
领域交流合作
equality,
问题
mutual
上，
benefit,
中方始终
peaceful
持
use,
开放
and
态度，
inclusive development.
曾同美方建立了地球
China
科
has
学和空
always
间科
been
学航天
open to
合
the
作和部
exchanges
署，
and cooperation
中
with
美民用
America
航天对话的
in
基础。
space. We established
但
a
美方却
series
以
of
冷战思维
working
看待对华航天合
mechanisms
作。
with the U.S.
出台沃尔特
However,
条
the
款
U.S. views the
2021
cooperation
美国
of
创新
space
竞
with
争法
China by Cold War
2022美
mentality,
国竞争法
and
的国内
it
法
passed some
限
domestic
制
laws,
阻挠
including
双
the
方航
Wolf
天领域的交流合
Amendment
作，
and
甚至对中方
other
相关企业施加单
regulations
边制
to
裁。
limit
这是目前双方合作
the
陷入
exchanges and
困境的根
cooperation
源
in
所在。
space between two countries, and even
在月
impose
球与
unilateral
深空探测
sanctions.
领域，
This is the
中
root
方
cause
一
of
直
the
积极推动
difficulties
国
of
际
the
合作。
bilateral cooperation.
近期，
In
中国国
lunar
家航
and
天局
deep
对外
space
发布了月球
exploration,
样
China
品
is
分发
committed
指
to
南，
vigorously
以及嫦娥
advancing
8号任务
international
合作基于公
cooperation.
报。
And recently,
我们欢迎包
CNSA
括美
has
国在内的各国
issued
科
the
研人士
regulation on the
按照有
management
关
of
流程提
lunar
出申请。
samples and
如果美方真
announcement
心
of
希望推动
international
中美航
cooperation
天领域交流合
opportunities
作，
for Chang'e
就
8
应该
mission.
撤销
We
废止相
welcome
关法案，
scientists and researchers
停止
from
发
all
表不负
countries,
责任的
including
言
the
论，
U.S., to apply
采取务
in
实举
accordance
措，
with relevant
清楚
procedure.
双方
If
合
the
作道
U.S.
路
is
上
truly
的绊
willing
脚
to
石。
advance exchanges and cooperation with China, it should immediately revoke relevant bills and laws, stop making irresponsible remarks, and take practical measures. Next one, please.
The U.S. Commerce Department will begin gathering information on Chinese production of legacy semiconductors. Those are not the advanced chips. Those are just like regular chips. It is looking to track how deeply reliant U.S. companies have become on the technology from China. There's a belief that China is underpricing this production and sale of legacy semiconductors. Can you respond to that?
美国商务部表示，他们将会从明年开始对中国传统半导体科技进行信息的采集。这些半导体并非高级半导体，而是常规半导体。但是有人认为，中方正在压低相关半导体出口以及生产的价格，而且美方希望来得知美方的公司对于这一中国技术的依赖度有多少。中方对此有何回应？
全球产供链的形成和发展，
The
是市场
form
规
and
律和企
development
业选
of
择
global
共同
supply
作用的结果。
chains is the outcome
人为
of
干预
market
将
laws
经贸
and
问
the
题国际
choices
化、武器
of
化，
enterprises
违反市场经济和
using
公平
trade
竞争原则，
issues as a tool
加剧
or
全球
as a
产供链安
weapon
全风险。
violates the
最
principles of
终受
market
损的
economy
是包
and
括美国
fair
自己在内的
competition,
整个世
will
界的利益。
eventually damage
美
the
方应当确实
interests
尊
of
重
the
国际
U.S.
经贸
and the
规
whole
则和
world,
市场
and
经
the
济原
U.S.
则，
should
为
abide
中
by
美经贸
the
合作创造
international
良好的环境。
economic trade rules and the principle of market economy and create conditions for China-U.S. economic cooperation.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
大家还有问题吧？
Any more questions?
如果没有的话，今天的记者会到此结束。
So
谢谢大家。
this is the end of the press conference. Thank you.